Okay, we are now live. Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday, November the 18th, 2020. I am Jody Pappas from Clean Kiss, and I'm also the founder of the Find Your 40 movement, which I'm so proud to be part of and to welcome all of you to also be a part of it. And I am here live today with my very, very closest friend, Susie. And so Susie and I are going to be talking about unleashing the freedom of silver. So it's going to be a really fun topic. And before I turn it over and let Susie introduce herself, I just want to do a little public service announcement. So to say that for those of you that are watching this, you could either be watching this live, which I hope you are. I see Carrie has already said hello to us here in the comments. So thank you, Carrie, for announcing yourself. I would love it if everybody that is on the call right now could also do that. So there's two things, actually. Because this is being broadcast through StreamYard, it's not direct through Facebook, StreamYard requests your permission. If you wish to make a comment to Susie and I and have your name show, then you just need to give StreamYard permission. And there should be a little button on the right side of your screen that allows you to do that. So that's number one. If you want to remain anonymous, you can do that too. Okay, so that's fine. But we do really request, so that we just know who is on, we request that you put in the comments your name and where you are calling in from. I think that's fascinating. I would love to see if it's all people that are local, people that are, known to us, or if we have people from abroad. So, because Susie is really, she's popular. Like, she's going to tell you this story, and she's got fans and followers from all over the world. Oh, yeah. So we may have people joining in from all over the place. Oh, yeah. So if you're live, that's great. Welcome. If you are watching it on replay, then that is also great. And thank you so much for taking the time to tune in with us today. We're probably going to be around 30 to 45 minutes. We're not too sure. We're going to just let the conversation flow, and we're just going to have a lot of fun with it. And what else did I want to say? If you have other friends that would benefit from this conversation, which I know you do, because this conversation is going to be very thought-provoking, not only about transitioning to silver, but hopefully we give you a whole bunch of takeaways from today. So please share it with your friends. In order to do that, you need to invite them to join the Facebook group, the private Find Your 40 group. So if you invite them to join, they can watch this, they can comment, they can get Susie's information on how to get in touch with her on Instagram and so forth. So without further ado, thank you to everybody that is commenting. I see Leslie, Diane, Natalie. So thank you, everyone who has commented and has announced themselves. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you, Susie, so you can just do a quick introduction.
Sure. So I'm excited that we're both wearing scarves today. Like we planned this.
I knew we were going to wear animal print. I just had.
I should have told you. I should have sent you a memo.
No, I knew. That's why I stayed away from the animals.
So a little bit about me. So I'm a mom. I've got two wonderful kids. One's an adult. Hard to believe. He's 20, and my daughter will be 16 in January. Married. I'm an education coach with a large childcare organization in Canada. So that role is mentoring, coaching, and adult education focused. That keeps me busy. I'm a wellness fanatic. Personally, myself, trying to just take care of my own good health. Some of it I was forced into, and some of it I've always been involved in. So yeah, I'm a trivia nerd and a history nerd, which you know, so I don't know what else I could say.
Whenever I need to do some fact checking or grammar checking, Susie is my gal. So yeah. I'm just saying she's a good person to have in your corner, because she has this wealth of knowledge and information that she's storing up there. And it's only going to get better because now you're not putting chemicals right into your brain, right?
That's right.
So let's start there. Why this transition? How did this come about, and where did this come from?
So to be honest, I've been thinking about it for a few years, and I used to work at a different job than the one that I have now, and I had been thinking about it for a while. And then one day I had gone into, this was that aha moment that everybody talks about. I'd gone into the grocery store near where I was working, and I saw this woman with beautiful curly silver gray hair, and she was checking out at the register. And I remember going over to her and just, I tend to talk to strangers. I know it's a bad thing, but I do it all the time. So I went over to her and I said, I love your hair. Like, you have beautiful silver hair. And I'm sure she said thank you. That part I don't remember, but she said one thing to me that I'll never forget. And she says, you're going to love the freedom. She didn't say you should do it. She didn't like any of that. She just said, you're going to love the freedom. And I remember standing there going, wow, like, freedom. Okay, that sounds great, because her hair was gorgeous. And that kind of stuck with me. And then it was almost like, you know, when you buy a car, you buy a certain model of car, and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after I talked to her, then I started seeing other women and noticing other women who also had silver or gray hair and thinking, I think I want that. Like, I think I'm ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also getting really tired of the maintenance of my hair. Because there's more in the front than there is in the back, but you know, was dyeing my hair every 4 weeks.
Yes.
And within, you know, I'd get it dyed, and within, you know, 2 weeks, sometimes a week, you have like little silver sparkles already starting to show themselves. So now I'm also covering those up, and using more products to hide what's desperately trying to come out. So I was getting really tired of the maintenance. And I was also noticing that, you know, you get your hair dyed, it looks beautiful the first week, but by week 2 or 3, it was really starting to look processed and fried. And like, it was just, I don't know, it wasn't serving me anymore. And I thought, this isn't really what I want to do.
And by week 4, we wear a hat.
Right. Or a headband. Yeah.
Or a headband.
That's right.
It's never ending.
Right.
Like, it's never ending. And so that was something I was very curious about. Obviously, I know you intimately, so I know what is behind a lot of your motivation to do this.
Right.
But one thing that I'm sure people were wondering was it for health reasons? Was it for the maintenance reasons? Was it just that you were just like, I'm just ready. Like, I'm at this point in my life that I'm ready.
I think, you know, besides being perimenopausal, which you and I both are, lucky us,
Yes.
you know, my hair is getting thinner. So there is that piece too. It's sad, but it's true. The other piece is I do have celiac disease. So, you know, that autoimmune disorder, there are things that kind of come up with that I don't know if my hair is thinning because of perimenopause or my hair is thinning because of celiac disease. But I know that since I stopped, it's actually getting thicker and it's healthier. So that was one of the things that I was thinking of. I put my hair up when it was dyed, and I could see like spots on the side that were not, I don't want to say it was holes, but you know, like spots where I go, is this like thinning on this side?
Right.
Like, what's happening? And now, 7.5 months later, I have like all this baby hair that's grown in because I'm not dyeing it anymore. So I'm not damaging my hair. So yeah, there were some definite health factors to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your hair is important, and we spend so much time working on our hair, making sure it looks good. Like, it's a big part of who we are. And I wanted to make sure that it was healthy. And I just was noticing that it wasn't anymore.
Right.
So I did try last year around this time to also go gray. And I couldn't do it. I just wasn't ready at that moment. I had, as you know, I went to Australia last year. I dyed my hair the morning before that long flight. And I look back and I think I shouldn't have done that. Like, I was already 8 weeks in to going dye free. And I thought, no, I'm going to dye it because I'm on a work exchange and they're going to be doing social media there. And I don't want to be, you know, have my skunk stripe in the middle of all that. Right. And I dyed it, and I shouldn't have, because once I did, then I lost, I guess, my nerve to continue on.
Right. You lost a little bit of momentum.
Right.
But you got right back on it, you know, when COVID hit. I have a question before we get into that story, the 2020, you know, kind of the part 2.
Yeah.
Is it cooler to say silver than gray? I noticed you say more silver than gray.
Yeah.
And you just, when you said gray a second ago, you quickly said silver. So What's the vernacular?
I know we've talked about this before, and I think, I can't deny that a big part of what I've been doing has been looking at social media and seeing other women also going through this process. And the terminology seems to be that silver is really the wording. And I think the reason for that, personally, I can't verify it, but is because gray hair has always had this bad, connotation to it. That
Right.
gray hair means old, or gray hair means I don't know, it doesn't sound as vibrant as silver. Like silver is sparkly, and it's
Silver sounds sexy.
I agree, silver does
Right?
sound sexy.
Wow,
So
silver totally is sexy. And you pointed out to me, and I don't want to forget that we talk about it, so I want to mention it now.
yeah,
You pointed out to me about the Disney characters. Can you share
right. Yeah, we were talking. I mean, you and I both grew up, in our former lives when we worked together, right? Disney was a big part of, and of course with our kids. And if you look at Disney movies, especially around the 80s and 90s when our kids were little, or when we were, growing up, I guess, all the villains, all the evil characters in Disney films are older women with gray hair. And what is why are they evil? They're trying to be young. They want to keep their vibrancy. They're trying to stay beautiful. I mean, Rapunzel gets locked in a tower, for Pete's sake, because someone wants to use her power to stay young and not have gray hair. So
Right.
I think there's been a message for so long that it's not okay to have gray hair. It's not okay to get older. It's not okay to look older, act older. I think that message has been drilled for generations. I mean, there used to be ads in the 40s of, ads that would say people used to pity her and then she dyed her hair and now they don't anymore. Like,
Right.
that's the messaging we've been conditioned with for so long that it's really hard to think, I can't do it. And I mean, I know you've probably been, I know I have before, where you're at a party and you're in between dye jobs and you think everybody can see your roots.
Totally.
Even though you've covered them with all the stuff, but you're like, I'm sure someone can see my teeny tiny little roots, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, now there's no hiding it. Like, this is just what's happening. So and people are fine with it. So but
people are fine with it. So I just want to make a note that if anybody has a comment, a question, anything that you want to say, you want to just give thumbs up or anything, this is an interactive session. So please, people, feel like you can join in the discussion and make comments and tell us what you're thinking about what we're talking about. We have a lot more to cover, but please do jump in anytime. So tell us about, so the first attempt was right before you were going to go to Australia. You had gone 8 weeks at that point. You colored it. You came back. You decided to do it again.
Right.
And I believe April 1st was your date.
So it was the last time I dyed it, was April 1st.
Okay.
And I did a box dye because we were in the middle of COVID. So you couldn't get my hair done anyway. And then because I've been walking so much, because you could do nothing else, walking the dog, I listened to a lot of podcasts, and I listened to this one podcast about hair health and how to take care of your hair as you're getting older, because again, our bodies are changing, our hair is changing, all of that is happening. Right. And this woman was talking about her experience. And I literally came back from that walk and I came home and I said to Troy, my husband, I'm not dyeing my hair anymore. And he goes, okay, what happened? Because he knew that I had wanted to in the fall.
Right.
He needed to know why all of a sudden this just happened in, the end of May, I made the decision. And I think it was listening to, her name was Nicole Scott, listening to Nicole Scott talk about chemicals, talking about her own experience, how all the things that I've talked about, her hair getting thicker, her complexion looking better. Even she said her energy was better because she wasn't putting chemicals directly every 4 weeks into her body. So that was the deciding factor. Was being home in lockdown, did it make it easier? Probably. But I did go back to work in June. And now I had been, I guess, 3 months, 12 weeks with no hair dye. So it was pretty visible that I either needed to get my hair dyed or something was going on.
So let's talk about that. What were the reactions? What were like the funniest reactions that you got? What were kind of some of them that you kind of went, oh my God, did that just happen?
You know what's really funny is that the fear that I have and what most women have, I think, about what people are going to say, none of that has happened. So all of everything I've received has been truly out of curiosity. I have, at least to my face. I don't know what people are saying behind my back.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? But to my face, all the comments that I've received have been really positive. So usually it's, oh, are you not dyeing your hair anymore? And I go, no, I'm not. Oh, why? And then they want to know why. So I talk about the maintenance. I, try to keep it short, but why? It's generally out of curiosity. I do hear comments about, wow, you're being really brave, or that's really courageous of you. And I don't feel that way. Like, because to me, it's just, this is who I am now. Like, this is what my natural hair color is supposed to be. That's what my body's telling me.
Right.
But I recognize that for a lot of people that they may feel that way. So it's mainly been curiosity. I've had a ton of compliments in person, not on Instagram. We can talk about that another time. From men. A whole bunch of men have given me compliments. Men I know and men I don't know, which is fine. So the whole idea that, men don't find gray or silver hair attractive, I would disagree with that. I think I told you last week I ordered a pizza and I'm on a conference call. I'm trying to pay for the pizza. Like, all of these things are happening. And the pizza guy's going, oh, and I'm saying he's talking about my hair.
That's amazing. Even the pizza guy is your fan.
Even the pizza guy's my fan. Yeah. I mean, I work with children, so, we know children are brutally honest. So I work with in the early years. And I mean, just like when I was pregnant, they used to tell me my belly was fat. They're pretty honest. So last week I was at a center and I'm in the playground and I hear, Grandma, Grandma. And I'm going, oh, hell no, she's not talking to me.
That happened?
So I turn around and sure enough, she's talking to me. So I said, oh, I'm not your grandma, honey. My name's Susie, right? So, but I thought, if this is what she associates with that, like, there's nothing I can do. At least she's, children are honest and that's fine. I have to come to terms with how I feel about that. Right. Exactly. And I laughed it off. I thought it was hilarious because I was like, well, like I said, when I was pregnant, they would tell me I had a big fat tummy. Sometimes they tell me I have lines on my head. Like, they just do stuff.
God, children are very honest. Yes.
Yeah. But I did have that moment where I was like, oh no, she's not talking to me, is she?
Yeah,
so sure enough, she was.
Well, it makes a great story though. I love that you
it truly does. Yeah. So I've had a lot of great compliments. I've had some anxiety about going to events, even though they've been small. In the role that I work in at work, I do see a lot of people. And I do present. I do presentations as well and training. So I do get anxious or worried about, okay, what are they going to say? And because I know that I can fire back a comment, I have to be very cautious of what I'm going to say. So sometimes I work myself up into thinking, oh, someone's going to say something about my hair. And that hasn't happened. It's only been positive. Curiosity and positive feedback are the only two things that I've experienced so far.
That's amazing. And I do remember you telling me, though, the story in the beginning. And I wonder if it was real or perceived. But I do remember you telling me that people were staring at your roots.
Yeah.
And now in hindsight, do you think that was really happening? Or were you just super self-conscious, like when you have a pimple and you think everybody can see your pimple?
I think it's a little bit of both. When it was just like, a few inches, I think people were like, oh, Susie needs to go get her hair dyed. Right. Now people are generally looking at my hair and going, like, today I stopped at a center and someone said, so are you like really doing this? And I went, I really am. And she's like, okay. And then it was over. Right.
Amazing.
So now that they see, it's like, I think I don't even know how many inches through it is, but now they're going, oh, okay, this isn't just because of COVID. Like, she's really really doing this now.
She can't get to her hairdresser.
Yeah, exactly. Lighting makes a big difference. If I'm out in certain lighting, it looks really, really silver. So it's interesting to get used to your new look. But there are great things about it. I can wear new colors that I didn't wear before. Like certain colors I wear look different on me now. Certain makeup looks different on me now. So it's a little bit of a transformation. Yeah.
I have to say that I've noticed the difference in your complexion,
yeah,
in your coloring. For sure, I've noticed that. And so I did get the good fortune to actually see you in person. For the first time when I saw you, it was back in the summer when patio season had opened. And that was the first time I had seen you in person with your new silver. And like right away, it was very striking, especially with your eyes, which are harder to see right now over the video. But I think that's amazing how when you just let your body do what it naturally wants to do, i.e. let your natural color come in, and it suddenly all comes together.
Yeah, and you're getting highlights that you don't have to pay for.
Right.
So I have like these salt and pepper highlights. I mean, this is the Grand Bray here, right? Like the old color. But I have all these highlights that I don't have to pay for now. They're all natural highlights. So when I put it up, you can really, really see them.
Really see it.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting process. That's for sure.
I love all the new terminology that I'm getting from you, because Grand Bray, I see that you hashtag that a lot as well. So that's obviously a thing also, and you're working it really well, and it looks gorgeous on you. So, that's too funny. Okay, let's talk about the silver titanium life. So you just talked about it a few moments ago about Instagram and how you're getting all these comments. Let's talk about your impetus for starting. That's Susie's Instagram handle, by the way, at the Silver Titanium Life.
Yes.
And so Susie you started this account at what point in the process, and what have you learned? And what was kind of the impetus for why you did it?
So when I finally decided to go silver, then I was like, okay, I want to document this, because one of the reasons was, again, last year I had been following this one woman specifically, but as you know, once you start following one silver sister, your algorithms all line up, and now you have all of them to follow.
Yeah.
But I started following this one woman, and I was really impressed by the process she was going through, what she was saying, what she was talking about. And it really inspired me. So I thought, you know what, if she inspired me, what if I could inspire one person or two people? Who knows, right? And the other part is there are days where I do look at my hair and I go, am I doing the right thing? Right? So I can look back at my IG page or Instagram page and go, look at all the progress you've made. And it does look great. Like it is, so there are days where I go, oh, like, should I be doing this? Like, I'm not going to lie and say it's rainbows and sunshine every day. But it has helped me not only, feel good about my hair. I'm a part of this, what they call a silver sister community. So you post a picture and all these other silver sisters tell you how great you look, and or they give you suggestions, or they talk about what shampoos to use, and all of those things. But it's really helped me stay accountable to, you do want to do this, and why do you want to do it? Because these women are also sharing why they, just like myself, why they chose to do this. And we do live in a world of social media now, and I think it's a huge network of women who are sharing this.
Right.
And that's not to take away from all the women before us who have done this without fanfare and without social media. There's been a whole bunch, but it's easier now to celebrate how we feel about aging and how we feel about getting older, and looking pretty hot and tempting.
Sexy and silver and sexy. I think it's been fascinating to watch your journey on Instagram. And I know from knowing you, of course, that you've said, in the beginning, it wasn't easy taking a selfie and posting. Now you seem to have really come into it, And
Well,
I've even, we've done videos, and you're branching out and you're sharing all about who you are, not just about the silver hair, but the fact that you're a runner and you have celiac and you're a mom, and so you share a lot about your life. And I think what I've seen is a transformation, not only in terms of your hair, but a much bigger transformation is happening with you.
Well, thank you. I think and I mean, you and I are both getting close to the big 50, right?
Yes,
Not this year. But I think as you're, and I'm sure there's, women on the call that, have already done this and are older than we are. But, when your kids get older and they start moving out and they start doing their own thing and they have their own interests, you start to step back and go, okay, who am I again? Because I've been dedicating my whole life, or feels like my whole life, to these two little people. And now they're moving into their own lives. And, what am I interested in, or what's important about what I do? So I think for me, this is just one avenue that I, choose to express that in. And I'm happy that I have a platform to do that. And it's true. I do use it for, wellness, mind and body wellness. I do use it for celiac awareness, because there's a lot that people don't know about celiac disease. And then, of course, the big piece of it is the silver hair. So.
Right. Yeah. And so we alluded to it earlier, Susie did, that she's got some new male followers as well. So yes. It really is amazing how I think there is a whole movement, not only happening with women, but also with men, that men are appreciating the beauty of women with silver hair.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I have a public page, so there are some creepers on there, but I don't answer any of the direct messages. And just for clarification, my husband is fully aware. So,
yeah. And you do have married in your profile.
I totally do, yeah. And I had the option to make it public or make it private as well, but I chose to make it public because that's how I found those women. So I wanted to have that same opportunity for other women to find me. So that's why I leave it as public. But definitely I haven't experienced where there's even been no comments from men saying you should dye your hair. Like, if anything, I get comments on, it's going to look beautiful when it's all silver. It's going to, the way it's going to frame your face is going to look beautiful. So as long as they're not creepy comments, I leave them on the feed. But the DMs I don't respond to. But we have to remember, like, I don't think men go through the same judgment that women do about getting older, right? Like when they go silver, they go gray, or they go bald. No one is really telling them that, well, if you shave your head because you're losing your hair, you're going to look older. No one's saying that to them.
Right.
And no one's saying to them, you should dye your beard or dye your hair because you're going to look older. They get to look distinguished. Right. Why do we have to go through that process? So I don't think men see it the same way that we do.
No, I don't think they do either. And, it's funny that you say that about, shaving their head bald, going bald. I've actually been trying to encourage my husband to actually shave his head bald. His hair has gotten quite thin over the years. Right. And I think I'm also a fan of The Rock. Okay. Right. So full disclosure, I think he would look great with his hair fully shaved, and he's not having it. Like, he won't do it. He's not there yet. I don't know that he ever will be. Certainly if he ever had to do the comb over, I think I would probably just have to do it in the night while he's sleeping.
I think so. That'd be a good plan.
But yes, there's definitely a double standard when it comes to, the opposite sexes, when it comes to aging standards. And that's actually the next thing that I really want us to delve into deeper, because I think you forging this path, you forging this ground, somebody commented, "Oh, Andrew." Yeah. You taking this step is one step in a much bigger puzzle. And so you alluded to it a little bit earlier. You spoke about the fact of, aging and anti-aging. And one of the things that I feel very passionate about, and I have, really since I started Clean Kiss, so 6 years ago. You and I, Susie, were talking about it even earlier today when you sent me the cover of the Allure magazine, and I believe that was the cover from 2017.
Right.
So Allure magazine, for those of you that don't know, I meant to post this link today, and I actually got sidetracked, but I will post it in these comments that goes along with this video. I'll post it later. So Allure magazine, back in 2017, they made a public statement that they were going to stop using the words anti-aging in their magazine. And I love that. I love that they did that. And changing just that wording, even for me. So, I make natural skincare for those that may or may not know. And my target market is women in their 40s. So, yes, maybe as women, we are looking for something to reduce wrinkles. We're looking for something to make us look younger, or feel younger, to feel better. Okay. I don't use the words anti-aging, that this is going to, anti-age you. This is going to turn back the clock. This is going to, reduce or eliminate all those wrinkles. Heck, we earned these wrinkles, right? Just like I think, you know what? I earned my gray hair. In my case, I'm still covering mine up.
For now.
For now, yes, I know, just for now. But we earned these wrinkles. We earned the body that we're in. Perhaps from birthing our children, so we earned maybe this little middle section. I'm rubbing my belly if you can't see me. And we earned that. Maybe we're not enjoying it, but it's part of, the aging process. It's part of going through perimenopause or going through menopause. Our body changes, our skin changes, our hair changes, our mentality changes.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and, I don't want to look younger. I don't want to look I think it would be weird if I was 49 and I looked 29. Like, I don't think that would fit. No. I just want to look healthy and I want to look vibrant. So, it's not that I want to look young. I just want to look healthy. I don't want to look tired. We know, right? We know, and because sometimes I have those health factors with my autoimmune disorder, I do need to be mindful that sometimes I can look a little more pale or I can look a little more tired depending on how I've been doing with my diet. But I have no desire. I look back at pictures of when I was young and I go, wow, that was great. But that's not me anymore. I'm not that person anymore. Like I'm a different person now. I have a lot of similarities, but I'm, much more outspoken. I'm much more confident. Like, there's a lot more things about me now that I never would have done when I was in my 20s.
Right. And that's what was behind the whole Find Your 40 movement. Yeah. You know that, Susie. I don't know if everybody listening to us today would necessarily understand where that whole movement came from. So let me just give a little overview of where it came from. So, about a year ago, I was looking at Clean Kiss, my brand, and I was looking at, what do I stand for? What is the message that I want my customers, my followers, my people, my fans of Clean Kiss, what do I want them to feel when they use my products? And it became conversations with the women that are using my products. And what I found was that, primarily they're all in their 40s, 40 and above, I should say, for the most part. Okay. Obviously, I do have women in their 20s and 30s, and I've got women that are 50s, 60s, 70s that are using my products. But what I found was the absolute common denominator was that women in their 40s, I'll use that as a, with quotes, because it's a feeling. It's not a number. Right. So when you're in your 40s, you have this different mindset that you really don't give a hoot. I'm going to swear there.
That's kind of you, Jody.
That you really don't give a hoot what other people think about you, or what they think about your roots coming in, or what they think about your wrinkles. And coupled with that is the fact that most of us, a lot of women in their 40s, if you started having kids, Susie and I have kids around the same age, right? And by the time you hit your 40s, you're realizing that those very kids that you've been rearing all these years are going to be leaving home in a few years, sadly.
Yes, it's awful.
Someone yeah, I'm actually going to be terribly sad when that happens, because I think it's going to be a whole different ball game. But that's what happens when you're in this decade of your life, is having this feeling like, okay, I need to do something for me. I need to do something where, I'm not caring what everybody else is saying or thinking about me or my look or, my style, my anything anymore. And, I just really want to feel good in my skin and in my body. And so a lot of women take up healthy wellness activities, running or yoga or exercise, or they start ditching chemicals like hair dye and, aluminum in deodorant and, parabens and all the other things that I talk about in other forums. They start really realizing more around what works for their body and what doesn't work for their body, and what works for their life and what doesn't work for their life.
I think there's a different level of confidence. And, whether you have children or you don't have children, whether you're a career person or not, like, I think something just happens. I don't know what it is. I think my mom's on the call. She probably knows what it is. But I think something just happens where I think she's there. I think you just all of a sudden you go, this is who I am. Like, and, this isn't serving me anymore. And I remember saying to you, like, I don't even know why I'm dyeing my hair anymore. Like, I don't even feel like this is me.
Right.
Like, this doesn't feel like me anymore. And I don't, who am I doing this for? Like, my husband doesn't care. He's happy with my hair, whatever it looks like. And that was kind of that moment of like, this is me now, and I'm ready to accept that. And the rest of the world's just going to have to accept it too. I noticed somebody commented, women are dyeing their hair silver, and it definitely did become a trend.
Yes.
But even, some very prominent women in Canada are letting their natural gray hair come out, like Lisa LaFlamme from CTV News. Her hair looks great. Our Governor General, her silver roots are all coming out. Like, I think women are just finally saying, like, who are we doing this for? It just doesn't make sense.
Right. And that's exactly what, as a movement, I believe it's happening, right? It's starting. So with Allure making that claim that they're going to stop using the anti-aging words, with brands stopping their focus on, well, we're going to turn back time. Hell no. Let's celebrate where we're at.
Right.
Let's use age-appropriate products. We don't want to turn the clock forward. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Like, wear sunscreen, ladies. That's a big one, right?
Yeah.
So, we don't want to turn the clock forward by being foolish and going, okay, I'm just gonna, just let it all go now. No, you need to actually look after your largest organ, which is your skin. You need to look after your whole body, but do it for you. Don't do it because you're trying to fit into the definition of what beauty looks like.
Well, and if you're not doing it for you, you're never going to be satisfied with the results.
Right.
So you have to be doing it for you, right? And I mean, we have to remember, women are living longer now than we ever have before. So at some point, we are going to have to accept the fact that we're getting older. Like, that's going to happen. We're living much longer. And, I know we'll probably have to go soon, but I'm not saying that people have to stop dyeing their hair. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Right.
This is working for me. This is what I've chosen to do. But at some point, I think every person, and maybe Andrew too, one day will say,
one day,
right,
off. Yep.
I'm ready for this part of my life, or I'm ready to now be this version of myself that I've grown into. And I often say, like, oh, I want to grow up and be just like that person, because I don't feel that I'm done growing, right? Like, there's still so much ahead of me. I'm only in the middle of my life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We are never done growing or evolving. And every day is a new day for us to find a new part of us,
right?
That we didn't have the day before, right? So I really believe that we uncover something. Pardon me, I'm getting choked up. That we uncover something new about ourselves each and every day, right? What is the biggest advice that you have, and then we are going to go to questions, by the way, and comments. So don't worry, if you have questions and you want to start posting them, you can certainly do that. But what is the biggest piece of advice that you would give to these women that are here live with us tonight, or with, you know, people, women or men that may choose to watch this on the replay after the fact?
So I think the biggest thing is all of the, as I mentioned before, all of the fears or anxiety that I had around going natural or letting my gray hair grow out, none of those fears came to light. So I don't think I look older. I haven't received that comment again to my face, but I don't think I do. I look like myself. I just have a different hair color. I haven't received, you know, negative statements. So all of the things that I was worried about didn't happen. For me personally, the hardest part was the first 12 weeks. And I think that was the hardest part, is because we're so conditioned that when we see roots, we have to dye them.
Right.
So I had to get out of that conditioning of, you don't have to dye them. And I had an extra box of hair dye in my bathroom waiting for the moment I was going to crack. And, you know, I'd look at it every so often and I'd go, no, I'm good. Like, I'm fine. But I think after those 12 weeks, and that's when I started documenting my progress. For me, that was the hardest part. Some women say the hardest part is where I am right now, this kind of halfway spot. I actually love it. I love curling my hair and seeing the way it's all turning out. Kendra and I were just talking about it at dinner, how I have there she is, some highlights here and there. But, you know, you have to be ready, and you'll know when you are. You'll just have this moment that you'll be like, this isn't for me anymore.
Right.
So those would be the two things. All the things you're worried about are probably not going to happen. And the second part is, you know, for me, it was those first 3 months that were the hardest part. Once you get past that point, then it's nothing but fun and interesting new things to learn about your hair.
Yeah, no,
and yourself.
I think that's amazing. And while I will admit, I am not yet at that point. I feel like you and I always do things like in unison, though. So I don't have a time frame set out for myself just yet. Right. I want to wait until, for me personally, I know it's the right time to do it. But the one thing that I did want to say is, since I've been following you, I'm getting all these suggestions to follow a lot of Silver Sisters. And so I've started following some of them, but only if they have curly hair, because I want to see women with silver curls. Right. And I actually feel very excited when I see them. And, like, I've followed a woman today. She's probably one of your friends, and she is, I think, 65. Right. And she is gorgeous. So she's got beautiful curly silver hair. She's in amazing shape. Like, this woman, you could tell she is the picture of wellness. And I find that very inspiring, because I always say, you know, I still want to be hiking when I'm 85. I still want to be doing yoga when I'm 85. And it's all the little things that we do today that will allow us to still be able to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, you may never decide to grow out your gray hair, and that's fine too. You need to be in a place where we need to worry so much about what other people are going to say and how they're going to judge us, because we're all need to feel good in our own skin.
Yeah, we totally do. We totally do. Okay, let's take some comments. I see lots of them coming in. So thank you all so much for participating in the discussion. If there's questions specifically that anyone has for Susie, please feel free to post your question if you want to know something specific about what she's talking about. Carrie, you're the last to comment. You said, thanks to Susie, I'm in transition of going back to my natural color. No more bleach for this girl.
And your hair is going to be so much healthier too.
I know, that is amazing. And Carrie, the one who I read that comment from, Carrie was my second guest in this series. So if you missed that, go back and watch Carrie's interview, because that was also a great story. So that's in our Find Your 40 group. You ladies aren't even old. LOL, you guys are both beautiful in some way. I'll be gray, and I'm totally for letting it go gray, as I don't dye my hair anyway. Well, that's awesome that you don't dye your hair. I've been doing mine since my 20s.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to know what brain cells and things, toxins are there.
It's been 20 years since I started dyeing my hair, and I forgot how dark my natural hair color was. Like in the back, right back here,
Wow.
it's my kind of natural color, and I forgot like how dark that color was. Someone made a comment about that they cover their gray because they need the body in their fine hair. I have noticed that, as I mentioned earlier, I have new baby hair growing back. And it's very, very healthy. So if that's any consideration, there have been a lot of women who have said that their hair has grown back, is coming in healthier and stronger because they're not using that. But everyone's different. But I just wanted to say I have heard those comments around the state of your hair when it grows back.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I think that'll be really interesting. And then the rest, I think, is just all beautiful, encouraging comments. Somebody says, I believe it, putting chemicals in your hair. I'm thinking of going gray myself. Natural, your complexion gets better, etc. Yes, it does. We've already talked about that. Susie is super brave and awesome, and we all love her. And hopefully now that everybody that's joined in today has gotten to know Susie better and gotten to know her story, you can see why I adore this girl so much too.
I know someone commented that their mom is going silver, and I just think that it's great to be there, so that support system for them too, because you do kind of have days where you're going, is it okay? Like, does it look all right? Is this crazy? Like, do you mind going into the mall with me with this hair? So like, it's important that they have that support. So it's really great to hear that she's doing that for her mom.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you to whomever wrote that. I have a feeling I know who that is. So thank you. That's great. Ladies, this is your last opportunity. Comments or questions for Susie or for myself before we sign off. While we're just waiting, we'll give it a minute. I just want to actually just say that this wraps up part 3 of the 3-part series that I've done over the past I think month. So it was called Womxn Changemakers. And so my first guest, part 1, was Jody Becker. She talked about the fitness industry. There was definitely a common thread. So she's an athlete. She talked about the fitness industry. She talked about how, as a woman who she was pregnant at the time of the recording, she has since had a beautiful baby boy. And we talked about how, often the fitness industry really plants things in our head about what the perfect fit person looks like. So that was part 1. If you missed it, you can go back into the Facebook group and you can find it. It was very good. Part 2 was with Carrie Gangram from Everybody Fitness with Carrie. She gets me out of bed every morning at 10 to 6 in the morning. So
yeah.
If you want your butt kicked and to get a really good workout, Carrie is your gal. So you can find her also on Instagram, Everybody Fitness with Carrie. She was part 2. And that was also a really invigorating discussion around changing mindsets around, what bodies can and do look like who are fit. And you don't have to be, a size 0 twig to be the one that, is the fitness instructor. So that was a really interesting discussion with Carrie as well. And then today I have Susie, of course. So these 3 women, this wasn't random. So these 3 women were, part of this series because they inspire me every day. They're part of my top 5 group of women that I like to associate myself with, because I hope you've heard me say this before. I really believe that the top 5 people that you surround yourself with they should be positive influences, and they should be really inspiring. So these 3 women are all of that to me and more. Marnie, thank you for your comment. I really appreciate you joining in tonight. And somebody else said, having known you both for so long, I can say you've both grown older and more gorgeous. Well, thank you. Perfect note to end on.
I agree. That was awesome.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining. Thanks for your participation on this Wednesday night. And thank you to you, Susie, for being a part of this really important discussion.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everyone. So I will I think Susie's Instagram handle is already in the show notes, but it's at the Silver Titanium Life on Instagram only. So she's not on Facebook under that profile. So hopefully you will follow along and you can continue to see her journey as she keeps transitioning over the next several months. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Bye. Have a great night.
Bye.